we're not having to go at the people that don't want the jab, who want the jab.
Yeah.
We're not telling them you shouldn't have that jab. If you want to go and have that jab, go and have the jab. But just don't pick on the people that don't want it yet. You know, some people are saying, all right, no, I don't want the jab. But they're also saying, look, I don't want the jab now, maybe in 12 months' time, maybe in 2 years. See what happens down the track. Yeah, you know, give it enough more time to be testing. There's so much fake news on the media. There is so much real news on the media. You just don't know where to start. You start at one point and you'll end up 200 down the line on the internet at another point, you know. So now I feel sorry for people because ever since this pandemic, and it's been going on, what, 18 months now, you know, that's a long time, you know. What is going to happen in the future with us? Like, what's going to happen in the future when, you know, like, okay, so Scott Morrison wants 80% Australia to have the jab, yeah? Before he decides that's it, no more lockdowns, am I right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, when the pandemic kicked in and all that, just like the bushfires, a state of emergency kicked in, yeah? A majority of people know what the state of emergency means. Some people out there really don't understand the state of emergency. It's a state of emergency. The government's got to come in and now help us people, right? Us taxpayers, we've given them enough money. When the bushfires started, the government asked all of us to raise our hands and donate money, Salvation Army and all that. But half of them players still haven't received 1 cent from support. You know, I feel sorry about that. And we know the money's in the bank. It's there sitting there. There's millions, mate, millions and millions, you know. So I maybe the government's dipping into that money, you know. So small businesses, you know, they're on job, you know, to keep their business afloat. But the small ones have to pay that JobKeeper back to the government. So the government's giving you money, bragging on TV. Yeah, we'll help the small business and all that, but we want our money back. We'll give it to you, but we want it back. You know, how are them small businesses supposed to pay back what they don't have? They're losing. You know, a lot of them are sold out. They sold their business. They've worked hard for that business, and now they don't have that. And they've got no backup. And once we get to the 80% vaccination in Australia, state emergency stops. The army goes back to doing what they're doing. The police go back to doing what they have to do. But no one gets any money. There'll be no money from the government at all.
What do you think the Truckie's response is going to be if we, like Israel, reach 80% vaccination rates and the country goes through a new epidemic of virus outbreaks and they shut down the country again?
Well, the truck drivers still keep working. Of course, we have to. You know, we are like the army. We're in the thick of it. We're like a postman. We don't stop. Rain, hail, or snow. We do not stop. You know, and a lot of people rely on the truck drivers. Well, we rely on everyone. When we talk about, I rely on the nurses. I rely on my doctors. I rely on the police, fire brigade, ambulance drivers. So we are all in this together. There's no ifs, buts about it. Some are on the left side, some are on the right side. I said, you know, maybe Donald Trump should come over here, build a wall straight up the guts of Australia and say jabbers on the left, non-jabbers on the right. There you go, problem solved. You know, people out in the real world, you know, and like I said in my video, out there in the real world, people go to work in the morning, they jump in the car, they head straight to work, and that's where they stay all day. People stay at home. That's where they stay. They go shopping and all that. Drivers, we're out there in the real world. We're out there with you communities. We listen to all of you people and feel sorry for a lot of things that goes on. But we found if they make it mandatory and they're pushing very hard for it, who's going to drive your truck? Country stop. Okay, so at the moment it's just border. Yeah, we know that it's just border. So the drivers, the interstate drivers, not the local drivers, the interstate drivers must have a COVID check every 3 days. All right. A lot of drivers live in their truck. So how are they going to get to the COVID test sites in their truck, P-double or whatever? You can't drive a truck into a testing site, can you? I haven't seen one yet. The tents are too small. So how they can't walk in, they can't drive in, they can't drive their truck down a narrow suburban street when there's trees or whatever, they you know, because of our height, how are you going to do it? How are you going to get a truck to a testing site? You can't.
Aside from the testing, what other ways has the COVID restrictions affected the truck drivers?
Well, the drivers, some of them are parked up. There's no work. Work's dying out there. We know that. You know, like some of the drivers are finding it hard to get work because the companies that they work for have closed down because of the COVID. You know, because the factories ain't an essential worker, right? So we don't need your business to stay open. We can shut your business. But that poor truck driver who goes there every morning to pick up the freight to take it somewhere else is shut. So he's sitting at home the same as everyone, not making any money. But yet he's got bills just like all of us. You know, he's got the house payments, the kids, schooling. He's got truck payments, fuel payments, you know, cost of fuel, mate, and tolls alone. You know, like, you're looking at $30,000-$40,000 just a year on tolls, maybe even higher than that, depending on how many times you go through the tolls. Car drivers, when they go through the tolls, all right, let's just rough off your head, say $1.50, yeah? $1.50. A truck is 4 times more than that. At the end of the day, if I go from one side of town to the other, it could cost me $60 just in tolls alone. That's $60. A subby who owns his own truck that pulls a company trailer, he's on anywhere from $60 an hour to maybe 70. Now you work the sums out. All right, you've just spent $200, maybe $300 in that day just to use the toll. You're working for anywhere from 10 hours to 12 hours. So you work that out at $60 an hour. Then he's got, out of that 60 an hour, he's got to cover his fuel, he's got to cover the insurance, and he's got to cover his tires, maintenance, and the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, it is affecting truck drivers badly.
The time it takes to do an average delivery is lengthened as well because of all the COVID stops. Is that happening out there?
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, like these roadblocks on the borders, you know, we all know the trucks are on a logbook time schedule, yeah? And once they sit in them lines for an hour or 2 hours, they've got to add that onto their logbook. But hang on, you're only allowed to drive. Back in the days, you could do 4 hours, half an hour break, 4 hours, half an hour break, so on, so on. Now I think it's 5 hours we can drive, half an hour or an hour break, all right? So poor mate's come down from Sydney, he's got to the border of Victoria. Now he's in a big line of trucks and cars, right? So he's got to sit there for an hour or two. He's already just now gone 1-2 hours over his driving hours, right? You get a nasty cop or Vic Roads or whatever you call them in New South Wales, they pull you over down the road, check your logbook. Oh, hello, you're a bit over your logbook hours. You know, here's a fine. Thank you very much. You know, fines are like $750 a page, mate.
Well, they go to weekly wage.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we don't make good money. We don't. We love our jobs. We love being out there on the road. We love doing what we're doing. We're skilled workers, you know. We're very skilled at what we do. But the COVID is killing everyone. It's hurting everyone. People are suiciding over it, and families are breaking up over it. It's just, the lockdown has to end. It has to end. We have to live with the virus, and that's it. The people that get the jab and the people that don't get the jab are going to learn to live with each other. You know, this week after going live on the media, I've had so much kickback from roadhouses where I stop during the day. Like I say, I'm only a lot driver. I drive around Melbourne all day, but I pull up to grab something to eat at the servo. A driver sees me, and next you know, I'm copping the third degree slack out of it, you know? You know, and I don't know why. You know, I'm only a little fella. After seeing that on the news last night, I'm now feared for my life. Right, in case a driver rolls up, notices my face, and says, you know, why don't you just have the fucking jab, get it over and done with, stop being a sook and all that. I'd like to take the jab, but I want to wait, mate. I want to wait. I want to see what happens. And that's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, doesn't it seem reasonable to wait until safety trials have been conducted and that long-term COVID testing has come out like any other vaccine?
Exactly. You know, like, let's go back to the start of the COVID, shall we? We didn't have a vaccine, really, did we? No, we didn't. All these scientists, you know, they all got together, rah, rah, rah. They used to come up with that, they come up with this, they come up with that, and they're like, all right, cool, we'll get this one. The government, the Australian government, how much millions of dollars did they fork out for the vaccine? How much? So the government is not going to throw that down the drain, are they? It's like milk. No, it's just like milk. If you don't put it in the fridge and use it by a certain date, you got to throw it out. It's just like the jab, dude. They've only got a certain time limit to use it. Scott Morrison doesn't want to waste money. He's forked out a lot of money for this. He don't want to waste it. That's why he's pushing. He's pushing. You know, he doesn't even know the true facts about the jab. No one really does. You know, that's what I'm saying. You're hearing a lot of stories, and you know, believe it or don't believe it. What do you do? At the end of the day, what do you do? Do I jab it in my arm, jump in the truck in the morning, and I have a side effect, and I kill 3 families. I run over car. I have you know, like.
That's right. Adverse effects aren't just a risk to you; they're a risk to a lot of people because these are big vehicles.
Yeah, they are. And let's go many years ago, you know, truck drivers copped a lot of slack on the media, you know, oh, we're drug addicts, we're this, we're that, you know, we're terrorists on the road. You know, we're not really terrorists, we just drive a big vehicle, you know. Hey, if this goes to the news or wherever, I'm putting a challenge out there, all right? And I'm not going to talk politics, but I challenged Mr. Dan from Victoria to spend one whole day with me in a truck and drive around the city and see what it's really like for us guys. You know, he could jump in the truck for 30 minutes. 30 minutes is not enough. Come and spend a whole day in the truck. We don't need cameras. You can set the cameras up in the trucks now. You know, we'll stop, we'll have lunch. Mr. Dan, you know, I'll buy you a pie and a can of Coke. But see, we're also on demand. It's not an easy job being a driver. It's not, but we love it. We're passionate for it, so we put up with it. I go to work in the morning, all right? If I go down the freeway because I'm going into Melbourne and the Monash has come to a complete stop, right? There's been an accident, the freeway's shut. Now I'm sitting in the freeway, okay, with everyone else. No one's going nowhere. Next, you know, my phone is ringing flat out. It's the client on the other end. Where are you? Where are you? I want my freight. Well, I'm stuck in traffic mode. You know. Well, how long before you get to me? Well, I wish I could answer that question. I really do, but I don't have the crystal ball to give you the hour. It could be an hour, 2 hours. It all depends. We're all sitting here, not going nowhere. Then we get phone calls from our boss. You know, and they're not. Yeah. Oh, hi. How you going? What's going on? Cop abuse. I mean, mentally abused. Yeah, you're hearing this. Mentally abused. We get called names that you wouldn't even call your own kids. You know, because we're stuck in a traffic jam and we can't go nowhere. So why are we getting abused for it? I don't know. I can't understand it. So mentally, a truck driver at the end of the day goes home. He's mentally stressed. He's at that tipping point already. During the day, same thing. He's at that mental point because a lot of pressure is put on him. And the COVID thing, like I said, a lot of businesses are shutting down. Truck drivers are losing their jobs. They have to go somewhere else to find work if there's work. And I don't know how it's going to end, mate. I really don't. The protest, I don't know how it's going to work, to tell you the truth. I hope it does, to tell you the truth. I really do.
What would the truckers? What would most truckers want to see come out of this protest?
Let's just go back to being normal, please. Let's learn to live with the virus. If you die, you die from it. If you don't, you don't. Since this pandemic, I have been to every hotspot in Melbourne, every hotspot, right, for the last 18 months since it started. I have not got the virus at all. Never. I go down and get a check maybe once a month, you know, make sure I'm all right. I've never had the virus, never. I should get it because I'm prone to it. It could kill me because I'm a smoker. I'm an asthmatic. I have 90% emphysema. My lungs ain't the best. So if it's going to hit me, it will kill me. But I get sick neither, because we're in the weather, you know, where our bodies adjust to the cold. You know, you get up 3 o'clock in the morning, it's pouring down rain, it's freezing cold. Our bodies adapt to it, you know what I mean? Our immune system adapts to it. So we got good immune systems. But you go putting something in me that's going to shut down my immune system and create another immune system for the COVID and nothing else, I'm fucked. You know what I mean? I'm fucked. I'll die. But I'll still go to work every day knowing this. I still walk out my door, jump in that truck, knowing that this could be the last day. You hear me? And at the end of the day, what do we get? We get slack thrown at us, you know. Oh, another truck driver spread the COVID. The protesters. Let's talk about you protesters, right? When all these protesters start, you hear a lot of bad feedback. Oh, here we go. We go back into lockdown. We're going to get a big cluster and all that out of this. You know, it's just going to fucking blow right out of proportion. How many times the protesters have done their protesting? How many major clusters has there been? 0. Exactly. Now, the other point is, what is the difference between the protesters? As long as they're wearing their masks, all right, you can't be 1.5 meters apart. No one can. Man, I was in the city the other day, and shit you not, I was sat at this job site for a long time, and I wish I had recorded it. There was about 20 police, because the job site where I was right next door to the police complex in Melbourne. 20 officers come to that complex, side by side. They're not going anywhere. They're just walking, yeah? And they're all bunched up together, mates, you know, they're all chatting. They've got their mask on. And I'm thinking, well, what's the difference between yous? What's the difference between me? What's the difference between the protester that wears a mask? What's the difference between our mate walks down the shopping centre? What's the difference between you going into a shopping centre, even though you have to wear your mask? What's the difference? And I really hate it. I really hate these anti-protest people that just carry on and whinge. Oh no, they're fucking, look at these protesters. There's 200 of them. Now the city's going to go into lockdown again. Well, it was going to go into lockdown anyway, stupid, because of the high numbers. You know, this is just the government's way of trolling even us again and again and again. But what's the protests go out there? They want to do, don't stop them neither. All the protests want to do is go from one side of Melbourne to the other, voice their opinion and go home. We don't need a barrier of riot police there, and not now with fucking rubber bullet guns. Like, come on, are we America? Are we turning in? Are we actually turning into America?
I think that Americans have
yourself.
A much more responsible response to COVID. I think that they are far less of a police state than we are. I think that we're leading the world in that, and we need to be very careful from this point on.
We are. The world is watching Australia at the moment. Like, yeah, I've done a lot of research. You know, it's not because it's scaring me. I just like doing a lot of research on the internet, and like, you know, everything could be fake, could be true. No one knows. The news could be true, but the news can be fake. They only want to show what they want. They're told to show on the news.
Yeah,
am I right?
That's
they
right.
only want to show people what they've been told to show to scare people. Look at the moment. Look at was it Hong Kong, China, when the students went protesting? Yeah, hundreds and thousands, and they just didn't protest for a day. It went on for a few.
That went on for a while, and that wasn't just about students protesting.
Exactly.
That was a takeover of Hong Kong by China.
Did they win in the end?
You can't really win against China, not when you're in that proximity. But it did bring the world attention to what's happening, which is very important.
It did, didn't it? It did. And they're only little people, mate. You know, like Britain, when look at their process, hundreds of thousands. America, hundreds of thousands. For some reason, in Australia, we don't have the number of protests. All right, let's now step to the builders side of it, shall we? I don't know if you've seen the news the other night. The union delegate for the builders workers, That's our main man. I'm in the builders union. That's our main man, you know. And then he put a YouTube out saying, look, on the building site, because a lot of people on the building site are in the same boat as you, are in the same boat as old mate outside, in the same boat as everyone. Some of these guys on the building sites don't want the jab yet. They're scared that if it comes mandatory, they'll walk off the job because they'll have to. They won't be able to go to work because they didn't have the jab. So what happens then? Old mate from the union steps in and says, right, we need to have a meeting about this. All construction workers, 30,000 workers alone in Victoria. That's a big army, man. That's a big army. So they have a meeting, rah, rah, rah. All right. Sorry, guys, you've lost your job because these guys here on the building site don't want to work with yous because yous ain't prepared to get the jab. So where are they going to get the workers to replace the ones they've just sacked? Then them guys are all going to band together and say, no, this, you can't do that to us. You know, you're here to represent us. So we go on strike. We do what the project. It was a while back. I can't remember when it was last year, the year before, whatever. When there was a lot of accidents on building sites, so they all got together and said, right, we need to have a meeting and a rally and bring up about the safety on building sites and the safety for us workers. And together, mate, there was 30,000 that worked that rallied in Melbourne. Did the police try and stop them? Nah. You know why? They're an army you don't want to muck around with. Exactly.
That's right.
And if they don't get what they want, what do? They walk off site. Nothing gets built. We are no different than them. We are no different. We're all the same. We're made of the same skin. I've got eyes. You got eyes. I've got feet. I got legs. We're all the same. You know, we just fight for our rights. We're entitled to fight for our rights. Mate, go back to your father's fathers, right? There was a document not long ago done on the Westgate Bridge here in Melbourne. You should watch that. It's pretty interesting. There was a document on the Westgate Bridge. When we brought the foreigners over, they decided to build the Westgate Bridge, and none of them were in the union. The bridge was starting to collapse already. They told I think it was John Holland or whatever that was running the show that the structure of it can't cope. And then the bridge collapsed and killed hundreds of people, workers. And all them workers got together, mate, and put down their tools until a union was formed and safety was brought into it. You know, if we didn't have the safety, you work in a factory, I'm sure you will have two delegates. You should have a union delegate and you should have a safety delegate to talk about the safety issues. We drivers, company drivers, owner drivers, all around Australia, we don't have delegates anymore, do we? We don't have someone we can go to and speak up. You know, we don't have anyone to represent us in the safety fact. We don't have that. Yeah, there's a lot of safety issues out there.
Are the unions helping with that respect, or they're not doing their job?
No, because a lot of us now, a lot of drivers out there, company, owner drivers, ain't in the TWU. The TWU is the Transport Workers Union. Back in my heydays, nearly every driver was in the TWU until they couldn't help the drivers. The people went, well, if you can't help us, why am I paying these fees for? So a lot of us walked away from it. And I'm not talking like 100. I'm talking 100,000 drivers said, well, I'm not joining the TWU anymore. I'm not joining you. You do nothing for us, you know? So we don't have that support. Like, for example, the toll drive, they're ordered to join a union when you're working with that company, which is a good thing because, you know, they had their protests, but whether they get what they want is a waiting game. You know, that they back last night at midnight, they went back to work. But let's see now if tolls will come to the party and actually do it.
We'll see.
And if they don't, they'll stop work again. And I hate to say it, this time it just won't be a 12-hour stop work. It could go for a week. Can you imagine nothing in the supermarkets for a week? No food. What are you going to do then? you're gonna go next door and stab old mate and raid his fridge.
The average mum and dad will actually get off the couch and go talk to their local government and demand things change.
Government, local governments don't want to get involved. No one wants to get involved. It's too powerful out there to get involved. You know, like Scott Morris, the New South Wales Premier. I can't pronounce the name. Queensland South Premier, can't pronounce the name. Oh, mate, down here in Victoria, Dan. You know, they're in with Scott. They're in with Scott Morris. You know, because at the end of the day, they get a nice juicy pay packet. They only just gave themselves a pay rise while we're all in this pandemic. They gave themselves what, $30,000 pay rise.
Yeah, they make sure to give themselves a nice pay rise every single year.
Mate, they got money in the bank. You know, like I bet you they're not crying. They're not crying broke. Got food in the fridge. They've got a job. They've got an income coming in every week. The people that ain't working at the moment, they got nothing. And like I say, when this state of emergency finishes, and this is what Scott Morris wants, because it's dipping into the government money. It's dipping into our taxpayers' money. We paid for this. It's not the government's money. It's taxpayers. Well, yeah, Scott Morris is saying, listen, you know, we're starting to spend a little bit too much money. Let's get as many jobs as we can. We get to this 80% and call off state emergency, and no one receives any benefits. JobKeeper, finished. Everything's finished. The small businesses that were JobKeeper, like I said, they have to pay that money back to Centrelink, the government, yeah? The big businesses, and here's a stupid thing, the big businesses, they're getting the government handout, yeah? But they're still working, you know what I mean? They're still able to operate. But at the end of the day, they don't have to pay that money back to the government. And they've made a profit on top of it. How's that one work? So they've made a profit, don't have to pay it back. But who owns the takeaway burger shop down the road, he's just put a sign up, closed forever. Thanks.
I'd like to thank you guys for doing the action that you're doing, because that's something that from the general population, what really makes a big difference for all of us. And as a proud Australian, I love to see Australians come together and take action when it needs to happen.
It'd be nice if we all stuck together on this. It would be good. It'd be good if the truckies could see everyone out there bipping their horn, saying, go for it, we got you back, Then some of us drivers, the majority of the drivers, will start to feel comfortable again and go, all right, we're going to do it now for you. You know what I mean? We're not doing this because of us. We're doing this for yous as well. It's not all about us. It's about everyone, every single person in Australia. We care about you all. You know, you're like our family. You know, the poor truck driver, he's been going to the same company for years and years and years. He's part of the family,
yeah.
Part of the furniture. He doesn't want to see you suffer. He doesn't want to see you get sick. We're all in it together. We should. If you people out there want to support the truck drivers, start blowing your horns. Start waving to us. Start showing us a bit of a sign. You know, band together, and let's see what happens. If we do pull up on Tuesday and it goes ahead, look, the ones in the city are the ones we really need. They're the ones that we really need to help us. The interstate drivers can only go to the border and that's it. The ones in the city need to support us as well. They need to say, right, we're gonna back you guys. Whether I don't know you from other side, but I'm gonna pull over on the side of the road. I'm not going for the rest of the day. That then we'll start the chain reaction. That will start hurting the government. It will hurt everyone. Trust me. It will even hurt me because I'm not going to make a day's wage out of it. It's going to hurt me too. It's going to hurt you. It's going to hurt everyone. It's going to affect everyone. Well, we're already affected. What more can we do? The government has taken so much off everyone in over the years. Where's our 4 weeks holiday at Christmas? My father fought for that. Who took that away from me? My 4 weeks at Christmas. Now we're down to 2 weeks. Now us truck drivers are being told, and this is truth. This is the truth. It's not fact. It's not lies. We now have been told that we're now going to lose another week at Christmas. So we're only having a week at Christmas and 4 days at Easter.
Wow.
So we've lost our holidays. Like I said, 47 years, man. 47 years I've been doing a truck driver. You know, I'm out there in the community. I hear you. I hear you. My heart feels sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because some of you won't get through this at all. You know.
Before we go, Wayne, is there any last messages that you want to share with everyone? A final parting message?
I just want to say, look, we're not out here to cause trouble. We're not out here to stop your food. We're not out here to stop anything. We're just out here to say enough is enough. We're doing the best we can at the moment through this pandemic. All you people need to realise we are in the hot spots every day. We are out there. I wear a mask. I do the QR coding, right? I'm happy with that. But don't say to me, you're not coming on site because you don't have the needle. Don't dictate that to me. I will have it when I'm ready for it. Until then, let me do my job. Let all of us drivers just do our job. Let all the people in Australia get back to doing what they love doing and just get off our backs. How's that? Just get off our backs. Because the more you keep pushing the drivers, the angrier we'll get. And then it just won't be a blockade because of this COVID thing or the jab or anything else. We'll just down tools completely, you know, then what? You know, I wish the building side would step in on it too, because they're a big part of this, aren't they? So,
yeah.
But that's what I want to say. Just let us do our job. We're doing it the best we can. You know, don't throw eggs at me truck. You know, it ruins my paint job. Just stop it. Just let us do. We don't. When you're working in a factory, you go on strike. We don't come and harass yous, right? We don't harass yous. Just let everyone do their job. Let us do what we need to do. We're doing it for yous. We are the backbone of the country. We are. Without trucks, everything stops, right? Everything stops. We want to get our point across to Scott Morris and all these other people. But I'm putting a challenge out there for Mr. Dan. Come and spend a full day in the truck with me. All right. There would be no ifs, buts about it. That's about all I got to say.